But this story is about this house right now. I've been here for about 6 months, and I'll tell you a little bit about my journey with this haunting and how I handled it and how I handle things. In no way is this how everyone should or they do handle things. There's a lot of different ways, but right now I'm just going to tell you what worked for me and what I did, basically.
I could fly on the wings of my heart deep inside. I've been falling apart,
So, I've had many experiences with the spiritual world, all of which I have not wanted at all. I'm just one of those people that is just more sensitive and can really pick up on spiritual energy, so that's why I tend to avoid it because it does come so easily to me. So the weird stuff kind of began because my boyfriend is very sensitive to the spirit realm as well, but even more so than me. I will get a mental vision of what the spirit looks like, or if it's male or female, or just the kind of general vibe of the whole situation, if it's dark or light, things like that. He sees full on apparitions. Poor guy. So I was out with some friends having a jolly good time singing some karaoke. If you know me, you know that I love karaoke. And I got a missed call from my boyfriend, which seemed a little bit weird because he usually goes to bed at 10 p.m. and it was around midnight or so. And I answered the phone and it was just completely silent. And I just got this feeling that something was going on. Something was going on, but I didn't know what exactly. I just felt really worried. So he gets back to me in about like 40 minutes or so, and he's telling me that he was attacked by said energy in the house, especially the basement is very haunted. So he was down in the basement doing some laundry, and while he was doing that, the energy picked him up and smashed him against the wall and got him stuck in a corner for a good amount of time till he was able to find his own energy and strength within himself to break free of that. He told me that it was dragging him back and forth at the bottom of the basement, and then when he tried to escape, the door that led from the basement to the rest of the house was shut and would not open for some reason. He ended up having to take the door off of the hinges, and he called me and told me what happened. The weird thing about this, though, is his phone was upstairs the whole time. So something called me from his phone while he was being essentially manhandled in the basement. I just started learning as much as I possibly could about getting rid of negative energies and how I should do it. So I got everything ready. I'm going to link the house cleansing spell below, but I was downstairs burning my herb mixture of frankincense and myrrh and a whole lot of other things like rosemary inside of there, and I was also smoking a cigarette because tobacco is cleansing, and I used that to cleanse space as well. I was down there, I definitely sensed this major heaviness. He was not lying. And it was strong, and it was old, and the energy was thick. And I just said, I will not tolerate violence in my house. You will not touch the people that I love. You will not cross my boundaries. If we're going to coexist, we can coexist. But if you do this, then I will cast you out completely. Casting out takes a lot of work. So if I could just compromise with the ghost and get it to chill for a while, I'd prefer that. The activity seemed to calm down a lot, almost non-existent. So I figured that it done the trick. But over the course of time of me being there, my boots have flown up the stairs in the basement and hit the door really loud. There's more than one entity in here. There's a more positive spirit and then the more negative, darker spirit that's little, like the poltergeist is in the basement, and that's a man, and he wears a suit and like a white shirt underneath. I haven't seen him, but I can sense it, and he's a little bit shorter. And he's the one that messes with Daniel the most. And then we have a female up here, or it's a man with a high-pitched voice, but it's a female. I'm 99% sure it's a female. And it's not as negative, and I think that the female entity is the one that called me while Daniel was trapped in the basement, kind of as a help thing, because if I were living in the same town at the time, I would have rushed home immediately. But the ghost definitely picks on him a lot more than it ever would pick on me. It's actually never even done anything to me. So if he's down in the basement playing video games, he's since moved his stuff upstairs for obvious reasons. He's down there playing and it'll trap him to the couch and he can't move. He's not scared of this sort of thing, so for that I'm thankful. One thing that I want to talk about is language, how you speak to the ghosts and what prayers you decide to use. So I've noticed that Jesus works really, really well with spirits that are of this world. So I'm talking about spirits that were humans once and then they, had trouble passing on, or don't know that they have passed on, or have unfinished business. And then I also looked up as backup, but I didn't have to go there yet. It's just something that I have in my back pocket. It's a PDF of a Latin banishing spell. So I think that Latin works really well with the older spirits that are not really of this world because the language is so old. So if you could imagine, if there's somebody in your house and you're trying to get rid of them and they don't speak English, it's gonna be hard to ask them to leave, okay? Also, when you're dealing with a negative entity that you would like to cast out of your home, I would definitely say confidence. Confidence is the number one key. I talked about it in my past video. I don't name negative energies, but the D words, love, fear, okay? That is their food. That is what they feed off of them. You cannot give them any fear because you cannot give them power. These negative energies are something that just drains power. So, you'd notice that hauntings, people associate that with a colder room, okay? Heat is energy, so the ghost goes in and it takes that heat, it takes that energy, it takes that fear, and that's what it runs on. So we don't want to give it any gas. So now I basically do the occasional cleansing and house cleansing, which will keep the activity down to a minimum. And then once the activity starts to raise again, I'll just have to do another cleansing. If anything major happens, I will take out that Latin spell that I've been saving. And I've been saving that for a rainy day if anything major really happens. But right now we've just kind of been coexisting and I've been ignoring it basically. And I'll just kind of keep you updated on what else happens with this house as it is highly active. And another helpful hint also, if you are experiencing a haunting and you would like to do a banishment spell, talk to the spirit like a bad dog or a bad child. I know that sounds weird, but you have the power in this situation. Okay guys, well I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope that you're not experiencing a major haunting. And if you are, remember, do your research, stay confident, and always feel free to send me a message on Getting Witchy With It on Instagram. Bye guys, until next week, love and light.